Back here on CBS Sports HQ, we have some preseason games on deck coming up for Thursday. We have the Colts and the Ravens kicking things off. Shane Steichen announcing that AR is going to start the preseason opener against the Ravens. He also says Richardson is going to play a quarter and a half before being relieved by Daniel Jones. Then they're going to flip that plan for the second preseason game with Jones starting against the Packers. We have the Bengals and the Eagles at 7:30 Eastern time tomorrow. And then, of course, the Raiders and the Seahawks, where the storylines kind of write themselves. So you have Pete Carroll, Gino Smith seeing their former team. We know that Gino, Ashton Jeanty will start for the Raiders. And hey, Gino Smith saying he's not in Vegas to roll the dice, but run the table. So when you say stuff like that, the expectations are going to be very, very high. So let's welcome in our NFL analyst, Robert Turbin. It's Pete Carroll. It's Gino Smith facing their former team. Turbo, yes, it is the preseason, but still something we are very excited to watch.
Well, the fans are going to be excited to see Pete Carroll come back and Gino because, you know, he was a starting quarterback for 3 seasons and did a really nice job in that role. But we know Pete Carroll brought the first and only championship to the city of Seattle. So I'm sure he'll get a warm welcome. The players are going to be excited to go up against each other. A lot of familiar faces are going to be out there on the field. I can remember 2016 playing for the Colts, coming back to Seattle in a preseason game and playing against my old team. And so there's always a little extra oomph when you get to go against your old teammates.
And Pete Carroll has quite the resume, quite the accolades. We see it here listed out. But let's go back to Gino Smith because he's going to get reps with starters in his first preseason game as a Raider. It's a very small sample size, and it's not going to be anything crazy. At least that's what we anticipate. But what do you want to see from Gino Smith in some of these preseason games?
Oh, just execution, command of the huddle, not turning the football over. Really in the preseason is about, okay, is the operation smooth? You know, can we get in and out of the huddle? Can we get to the line of scrimmage? You know, are we staying on sides? You know, can we mix up our snap count? And then once the ball snapped, you know, are we executing our plays and keeping things on our end, moving the sticks forward and things of that nature? I think that's really all we want to see from Gino Smith. He's a proven quarterback. He's a Pro Bowl quarterback. And I think that the fact that he's playing in this Week 1 preseason game is wise for Pete Carroll and the Raiders because you got to see what you got. I mean, obviously they have a great relationship, but it is a new team. It's a new franchise. You got new teammates. You want to be able to go out there and see what you have early.
Yeah, to your point, he is a proven NFL quarterback. We've seen what he can do at that level. A little bit of a different situation for running back Ashton Jeanty. We saw him have this phenomenal career at the college ranks, of course, with Boise State, and there are high hopes for him at the next level. Raiders taking him number 6 overall. But what are your expectations for Ashton Jeanty in the preseason?
The expectation is to play well, for him to play well, give us a little snapshot of what we expect throughout the entire season. He's a guy that's been mentioned in the conversation for Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he should be. He's coming off a Heisman Trophy, and he's one of the best backs, you know, in this draft. And so, you know, now he's playing with the big boys. He's up at the next level. And when you get an opportunity to play in the preseason, you know, it's really kind of a sample size or an appetizer for what the main course is going to be throughout the entire year. So I expect Ashton Jeanty to play at a real high level in his opener on Thursday.
Let's go to the other team because they have a new quarterback situation as well. It is Sam Darnold's team there in Seattle. And on the opposite side of things, I know you said it's wise that Gino and the Raiders and they're getting starts, but Sam Darnold and the other starters there in Seattle will not be getting starts. So what do you make of that decision there, given, you know, it is a new offense for Sam Darnold and he didn't exactly end last season on the note that he would have liked?
Yeah, there's a couple of different ways to approach it, and I was a little bit shocked to hear that Sam Darnold was not going to start in tomorrow's preseason game because of all the things that you mentioned, especially the newness of team, the newness of offensive scheme. But sometimes you like what you've seen in practice. You like the execution. It's been consistent enough where you feel comfortable, you know, sitting out the first preseason game, sitting out your starters the first preseason game, and letting the young guys play, and then perhaps letting your starters play in week 2 and week 3. And so the two different philosophies are, you know, you can either play your starters early and rest them later in the preseason, you know, or you can, you know, sit your starters early and play them later into the season and in the preseason, and perhaps that develops a little bit of a rhythm heading into the actual regular season. No way is right or wrong, but I am a little bit surprised that Sam Darnold won't be starting in week 1.
Yeah, so it's not Sam Darnold, but we know that the Seahawks are expected to play both Drew Lock and rookie Jaylen Milroe at quarterback. Drew Lock, we've seen him as a backup, of course, in the NFL, and there is a lot of buzz, though, coming out about Jaylen Milroe out of camp. So when it comes to him, what kind of steps forward do you want to see from him?
Very similar to what I talked about with Gino Smith. First of all, can he command the huddle? Can we get in and out of the huddle, right? Can we stay on sides? Are you able to mix up your snap count? A lot of times rookies, quarterbacks come into the NFL, they just want to go on one. The more advanced guys are able to mix up the snap count early and have that kind of execution early and chemistry with their team. And so I think that's what the Seahawks are expecting from Jaylen Milroe. Can he command the huddle? That's step number 1. And then 2, it just comes down to execution. I think from an athletic standpoint, we know Jaylen Milroe can make plays. They're going to expect him to do that on Thursday, and I think that's what we will see. But what about the footwork? What about the accuracy? What about being on time on your throws? What about if your first option isn't open, can you go through your progression and find your second or third option at wide receiver? And so these are things that he's going to learn on the fly. He's just a rookie, so there's a lot of development going on. But these are evaluations that coaches and scouts are going to look at when the game is over.
Yeah, we know the athleticism is there, the upside is there, so it's just about fine-tuning those things for Jaylen Milroe. Turbo, we certainly appreciate it, getting us ready for some of those preseason games that we have on deck. The Raiders and the Seahawks, that is tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. In the meantime, stay locked in with us here on CBS Sports HQ. You can stream us for free, and we're on 24/7. Scan that QR code and download the CBS Sports app.